Welcome everyone to the October 12th, 2021 regular meeting of the Conservation Commission and Inland Wetland Agency. I'll call it to order. Alexis, we do a roll call.
John Malin.
Here.
Jen Balliet.
Here.
Ed Hollowinko. He's here. John Levin.
Present.
And Matt Pence.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome everybody. We have a spot here for public comments if anyone's registered to speak. Alexis, do we have anybody on the line, or Amelia?
No, I will. If you are the one attendee and if you want to speak under general comment, not about any pending application, use the raise your hand. I believe that the person is just listening in, but I don't want to make any assumptions.
Okay, we'll move on to 4, receipt and discussion, S21-581, 15 Fox Run Road. Corrective action, restoration and landscaping in and adjacent to a wetland and water course.
Oh, I don't actually see that applicant here yet, so I don't know if you want to. Okay, and Ed's, it says that you're muted, Ed.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Dixon. If you
Hi,
could
how are you?
mute yourself for now, we're not quite to your item.
Okay.
So where are we on S21-581?
So it is a corrective action application. They received a violation after they removed some trees, and then they had made a very large pile of wood chips in and adjacent to the wetland and water course. Their application is on the website. I can go over some quick aerial photos if you want, or you want to. It's up to you if you want me to kind of do a preliminary, or we can.
If you can call up the schematic that theoretically shows the one that I see is just very difficult to read. And
Okay.
It appears that the only area in the site plan that we're concerned with is the top half, which is kind of color coded a little bit. Can you get it to come up?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Now, somewhere in that green with the angled lines,
Mhm.
there's a wetlands line, but I can't see it.
Right.
see
It
the-
is.
I see
It
the
is.
brook.
Yeah, it's not very clear. I very much agree. So right here's the brook, and then you'll see a very faint line with some X's. That is actually the wetland line. And so I'll trace it with my cursor. For the most part is on the far side of that wall, but then it crosses over to
Okay.
that location. But yes, very unclear. Absolutely.
And
agree.
the stone wall exists?
The stone wall does exist, and we can show you some photos. The stone wall does not come up in any of the aerial photos, but the wetland is kind of in this rear portion of the property. This is this is 2016. Let me go to something more recent in 2019. And so the wall, you can kind of see portions of the wall in here, but otherwise this is all now cleared up to the wall. me see if I can get a. This is kind of what it looked like in 2019. Sorry. The wetland area on the property has not been added. This is an estimated wetland, the green blob in the back. Off.
It's an estimated wetland?
No, they have had the wetlands flagged. So that map that I was showing earlier with the survey is the delineated location of the wetland and water course. And so
Okay.
it's all these trees for the most part, not all of them, but most of them have been removed. I will switch to sharing photographs. Let's do 1 second. To switch. Hold on 1 moment. As my sad little laptop catches up. Well, we'll do it this way. Not the best, but are you able to see those photographs?
Yep.
One photo. So to the right is the house, to the left is the wetland and water course, which is back here. The silt fence line they actually show on their site plan. It's approximately 50 feet from the wetland. And then, sorry, let me just kind of go through some of these. So this is the what it looked like when we first issued the violation. The wetland flags are kind of in the very back there, and this light colored hump is the large pile of wood chips. Again, here's the large pile of wood chips, and then kind of a more cleared area almost to the back of where the wetland line and that stone wall is. There are a few remaining shade trees in the corner closest to the wetland. Oh. And I believe that the applicant has arrived. And
it's connected.
The applicant
I think
is here?
you're now connected, yes. And I don't know, Amelia, can you move Sonia to a panelist?
Hello?
Okay, hello.
So
Hello?
Ms. Jacome?
Yeah, sorry, we had some issues connecting, and I was trying to connect to my computer, but we don't have a network. We're on the street. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
do we pronounce your name right, Jacome?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's a good start. There you go. Oops, almost. You almost made it. There you are. Can you just give us a sense as to what it is that you're trying to do here?
So I bought the house in November of last year, and our intention was to clean up the house, do some changes interior, and we start working on the basement. And when we were cleaning the basement, we saw rats and dead mice. So then we realized that we need to start cleaning. Instead of cleaning from the inside of the house, we have to start cleaning the yard. So in the backyard, in the back of the house, there was a garden when we saw there over the house, and it wasn't well taken care, but it was a garden, and it was covered with rounded with pieces of wood, and we were like, okay, we have to clean it, and maybe the rats are coming from there. And then we start cleaning. Behind the garden, it was a lot of garbage and construction materials, and then everything, the project is changed. Instead of doing the house changes inside of the house, we come up with the changes and update cleaning the backyard. And we collect a lot of garbage. Then we were talking with some neighbors next to our sites, and we talked with the neighbors, and the neighbor mentioned that the previous owner or whoever was living there has construction business, and whatever was left, it seems that he was putting there. So we find plastic bags, shingles, concrete blocks, garbage, from home. And then also we saw around, they have a lot of trunk of trees put on the ground. And when we bought the house, we have the impression that, okay, that's easy. We just remove the trunks and done. But then we didn't realize that the trunks were basically, they were cut, and the root was in ground. The root was in, so we have to clean those. But we didn't touch the wetlands. When we start cleaning, we also contact a soil scientist, and then he did a study of the land, and then he advised us that that anything behind the wall, the rock, there is a wall rock there, and he advised us that anything behind the wall cannot be touched. So we didn't touch anything behind the rocks. They still remain. So Miss Alexis was there, and she saw still some trunks there that with the years, the arbors, trees, they're just fall, and they are there. We do recognize that we were cleaning the yard. We have the trunks. We contact a guy, an expert on that, and he removed the trunks. And because it was a lot, we asked him, where do we put it? And he said, oh, we can put it in the backside. But we didn't know that putting that stuff near to the wetlands, not in the wetlands, but near to the wetlands, it was a violation.
Okay. I think I have a general idea. I mean, did you make any success in clearing out the mess from your basement? I mean, were you able to prevent anything more from coming in there?
Yeah, we ended up with doing upgrades on the house. The house is being upgraded, and it's more than 100 yards away from the rock,
Right.
the wall. Yeah. So there's
Right.
no work to perform nearby.
So there's some trees that you want to remove because they're, I don't know, dead or
Yeah, they were in bad shape. Some of them, they were in really bad shape. While we were cleaning the backyard, our neighbor, and when we see the picture there, then our neighbor on the left side, he saw an opportunity for cleaning his yard, and he dumped trees and our side when we were not there. So we ended cleaning his garbage, his stuff also.
right.
We didn't want to start the fight, and we asked him, why did you do that? And he said, my guys came and they turned the tree down, and by accident just fall in your yard. So we are new neighbors. We don't want to fight with anybody because we want to live
Right.
there. So we ended cleaning trees from him also. So the stuff that was put in there, it was also material from the neighbor.
Well, the stone wall that's shown is in the midst of the wetlands. But you didn't put it there.
I'm sorry?
You did not construct the stone wall.
No, the stone wall was there.
It was there when you
Yeah.
when you bought the house.
Yes, it was there.
Okay.
I don't know how long been there, but anything
Right.
behind the wall, the stone wall is we were informed that it's a wetland.
Uh-huh. Okay. Anybody else have any questions or they want to put forward here?
It looks like a substantial amount of trees were taken down. Were they all on the house side of the wall? And do you know how many trees were taken down? And did you take them down?
The house has the trees behind the backyard. They were in really bad shape, but near the stone wall, we didn't touch anything.
And did your tree guy told you that they were in bad shape? And what does that mean? How were they in bad shape? Were they dead or hollowed out?
Some of them are hollowed out, and some of them are the trunks. They were, holes under between and the trunk is a hole between near the ground and so dead trees.
And so the the site plan that you submitted, it shows the trees that remain and some plants that you propose, but it doesn't show the trees that that you talked about having someone take care of the trunks and the wood chips. That's not shown here, correct? But it was.
Yeah, that is correct. And the reason that is not shown there is because we were thinking that this is a proposal of what we're planning to do in the area nearby the stone wall.
Gotcha.
Okay. I mean, the photograph showed some mature trees with good canopy on the other side of the wall. Okay, where?
So just to kind of,
Yeah.
I should start with locational information. So this house is near the corner of Fox Run Road and Little Fox. So here's the Fox Run Elementary School that has this large wetland pocket behind it. Holy Ghost Father's Brook to the other side of the school. And then this is the property in question. Oops. Switches. And so you can see the dark areas are standing water. This is the property here. And then I'll switch to the bleak view. And so you're right. So most of the trees are beyond the wall in the wetland area. And then previously there had been kind of a sparser woodland in the rear yard where you had an area that was clearly cleared where the garden was. And then you have kind of a open cleared area with an occasional tree. And then over here, more of a more densely wooded area. And some of these trees, like I said, are still standing, and the applicant shows those on the plan, but some of those trees were removed.
All right, so no further tree, it's not imagined that any further trees are going to be taken down. Is that correct?
That is correct. There are some dead trees and the neighbor when you see the survey in the right side, but we don't want to touch because they are dead trees and my neighbor's property. So
Right.
it would be nice to clean, but it's not I'm not responsible for it, and I don't want to cause any, have more issues.
Right. So basically what needs to be done here is to clean up the debris from the trees that were taken down and chipped. And then to do some planting that would be appropriate close to the stone wall to preserve and enhance the wetlands? Is that, am I coming close here? But I'm
Yeah,
kind of,
if you zoom out, if you zoom the area, there and there we went recently and we went to see what trees are there. We listed the diameters of the trees that they are present, and there are also the ones that we propose that we wanna plant. There is a horizontal line. If you see, like making a triangle next to the making like a triangle with the wall, the stone wall. Those are the ones that we are proposing to be planted. And Ms. Alexis also mentioned that near the trees that they are behind this, near the wall, right, at the left side corner, those are existing trees, and little bit in the front we wanna plant something there. Yeah, we're planning to plant something, some
okay.
plants there, not trees but plants.
Right, so I had encouraged the applicant to show a plan that restored some of the buffer that had been altered. They actually have already removed most of the wood chips. There are still some wood chips kind of at this intersection of the wall piled up in the technically in the wetland here. But other than that, the wood chips have for the most part been removed. But what you get with there is very little or no understory or ground vegetation within this area. So you have these canopy trees, but then nothing else within your upland review area. And so what I had encouraged was a planting plan of revegetating the understory with either a seed mix or with a mix of shrubs, and then also more clearly delineating the extent of lawn, since I know that the applicant is in the middle of an extensive restoration of the residence and hopes to move in soon. Having a defined lawn area was encouraged. And I believe that, I guess that's what you're trying to show with this arborvitae.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, you're the expert on trees. Is arborvitae a good choice for that?
I don't know that I'm an expert, but I would rather see canopy trees there than arborvitaes. They're, yeah. Are there going to be any? Are there any other trees being planted, or is it just these arborvitaes?
We saw a list of the trees that are in the city, listed on the website, and that's what we're planning to do.
I have a quick question. I would like to know how many trees were removed from the upland review area and what variety those were, and approximately, what size or, maturity or trunk width, or however you measure. So we'd like to have an understanding of what it is that was removed tree-wise.
Unfortunately, I don't have that information. As I mentioned before, we didn't remove the trees we didn't touch the wetlands. We cleaned up the area, and basically what we did was clean the trees that they were in bad shape. And
okay, so the tree,
the size, the diameters of the tree, when I bought the house, it wasn't planned for us to waste our money or spend our money in the backyard. But due to it didn't make sense for us to upgrade our house inside if we have rats and mice coming into the house. It's like it didn't make sense, and that basically started everything.
So
our original plan was to upgrade our house and don't, but then when we see a lot of animals coming in, and I like to live well, and I can't just imagine that, okay, my house is nice inside, but outside I'm afraid to go outside because there's animals there that anytime that I open the door they just come in, and I didn't like that. So we start cleaning the backyard because of that. Not unfortunately we were not aware that, okay, we're not allowed to take the trees, and with the trees were in bad shape. Some when we're there, it was branches just on holding on the trees, but already falling apart.
Okay,
So-
so can you indicate, like, what I'm hearing is you didn't remove any trees except for trees that were in bad shape. And of those trees, how many were they? What variety were they? And what size approximately were they?
If you see in the pictures, they are trunks. There, I could say trunks and that diameters of the trees similar to those that they were already teared down. I don't have that information, to be honest, because
Okay.
I wasn't aware that I have to record every single thing. When I start cleaning up, I took some pictures just for us to have memories of what we did and how they look, how the yard and the house is being upgrade and so on, for memories for our kids. But didn't realize that, okay, we have to measure every single tree, and we contact a guy who has a license and so on, and he didn't advise us, okay, you need to measure the trees and so on. So I unfortunately I cannot provide that information.
Okay, but the stumps remain, I would expect. Are the stumps still in place, or have the stumps been removed as well?
No, they don't have, there are no stumps there.
It was grubbed.
I'm sorry?
It was grubbed, so the stumps were pulled out.
Okay, so the stumps were, okay. And
Right.
this, and this tree removal occurred between last November when the home was purchased and the note and the discovery of the violation. How was the violation discovered?
We received.
It wasn't discovered. We as I'm saying, we were upgrading the house, and after we see the backyard, we decided, okay, all the changes that we're doing, we're gonna make a bigger house. So we submit papers for a permit to upgrade the house. And before we submit the permit, I called the officers in the city, and they told me that I need to do a survey. I need to contact scientists, soil scientists, and I collect all that information and submit to the city. And at that time, as I was aware that it was a wetlands, and before they proceed with my application, they notify me that, okay, I have to work with the wetland department.
Right, so she had applied for a zoning permit to do all of the work on the house, and I believe actually you had submitted a survey that showed the location of the wetlands at that time, and so then it's sent over to me for permit review to see if the the work on the house needs a permit, and I indicated that I would go out there to have a look to confirm the location of the wetland flags relative to the house. And when I went out there, it was clear that it looked very different than the aerial photographs that I reviewed before going out there. And then just going back to your question about how many trees, I don't know how many trees were removed exactly, because, like, as was just mentioned, the trunks are no longer there. So it's a little difficult, but we did use aerial photography. And the most recent one I had shown you, and that's from August 2019. And then comparing the aerial photography and the site photographs that we took when we were out there, we estimated that approximately 15 canopy trees and all the understory vegetation was removed. And that's what's cited in the September 1st notice of violation.
And those 15 canopy trees were mature trees, and
so it was a mix. So they were not all large mature trees.
Are you able to estimate the varieties that they were? I'm guessing they were not arborvitae, Because arborvitae are not canopy trees.
No. Yeah.
No, they were all deciduous hardwoods. So certainly some red maples, which you can kind of see in this photograph by the red tinged tips. I'm pointing to others that are off of her property, but these were red maples here, here, here. Some of these trees are still standing, like this one and this
You
one.
are not,
Alexis, we
you're
can't see
you're
your
not
screen.
screen sharing.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I did excellent pointing. You missed it. Let me go back to, my apologies.
Yeah, I think the visual would help because it looks very dense in this photo. And from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it's basically completely cleared out up to the wall, except maybe a handful of trees.
Yeah, about a handful. So these are the red maples that I was pointing to earlier, these red kind of burgundy fringe.
Yep.
So I'd probably say a lot of red maples. And then, you know, who knows? It's some sort of hardwood tree. So oak, perhaps, probably some ashes.
And the removal was thorough and complete, including stumps.
For some of it. So I can show you. Let's see if I can share photos from the site. Try this one more time.
Seems like that must have been quite extensive work.
Can you see that photo?
Yes.
So this is the stone wall that demarcates wetland on this side. Actually, this is near the property corner on the left, if you want to call it the whatever direction that would be, on the southwest corner of the property, or on the top left of the map. So this is some of the wood chips. Again, the wood chips are removed, but you can see there are still some trees still standing. Let me see if I can move further
And all
out.
that mulch is cleared out now, Alexis?
For the most part, yes.
Okay.
So again, here's the wall, here's a wetland flag. This area is untouched. That I'm looking into, oops, wrong property. Hold on a second. So this was the pile of mulch when we first saw it. But again, that has been removed.
All of that wood chip stuff's been removed already?
Yes.
Yes, it is removed.
And
Where
so
did it
this
go?
is
Offsite?
I believe so. So this is the stone wall here. I'm standing actually not quite in the wetland, because the wetland kind of comes up and around, but there's a wetland flag there and there's a little wetland flag there. And then it's this area here. You can see the kind of the pale color of the wood chips, but there are still some trees standing, but it's this kind of area here in the middle that is more open. So you do have some, looks like forsythia growing just on the other side of the wall. So again, here's the wall. This is the neighbor's house, and it's this open area here.
So those are the wood chips in the background.
And then
that
this
have
is
been
the wood
taken
chips
away.
in the background, correct? And then a small pile here.
Are you able to point to approximately where you think the upland review area begins and ends?
In the photo?
Yeah, or maybe in the previous photo,
Um,
just so we can get a sense of what portion of the clearing
Yeah, let's
involves
see.
upland review area versus non-upland review area.
That would be easier on a aerial photo.
Yeah, yes.
So it's a 50-foot upland review area from the wetland, and then 100 feet from the water course. Let I don't have the water course is kind of here, this dark
We don't see it.
You're
line
not screen
here.
sharing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Click, click, click. Here is the water course. I'm sorry, here. Kind of goes like that across the rear of their property. And then the wall, you really does not come up in the aerial photo, but it is approximately here. And then the 50-foot upland review area is approximately here. And then the 100-foot upland review area from the water course extends, it kind of makes a loop and gets close to the driveway and kind of loops around like this. Something like that. So almost half of the lot is within the upland review area.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
It looks like the trees are quite far from the house.
Yeah, they are.
Was there concern? I mean, I know you're saying that they were dead and that's why they were taken down, but or dying, but was the concern that they were going to hit the house, or?
I see that house there and it seems like it's wrong picture because my house is blue and the white that you're pointing is white.
Well, I gather that the current situation is more like it is on 23.
I think you're
which
number
was a much
15.
bigger area that's been opened up. It
Because
seems
here's
to
your
me that when
garden.
we're looking, the work on the house doesn't have much to do with either the wetlands or the UVA, the URA rather. One would think that a reasonably robust replacement of some of the lost trees with something that has canopy and the removal of the wood chips and the restoration of the grounds to something remotely like what we need for wetlands would be what's in order here. Because the work that these folks want to do on their house doesn't have anything to do with the wetlands and setbacks.
Yeah, but in the picture you see the trees, but they're still there. They're still there behind the wall. The trees are still there. We didn't touch any trees in the area.
Behind this wall. So here's the wall. So these trees are still here.
Yeah, right.
And then some of these trees. But I think
They are
that
still there. The ones that around there, the trees are still there.
all these trees within
Yeah,
the
those,
upland.
but those are not part of the wetlands. They are far away from the wetlands, and those were they were in bad shape.
Well, from what I'm hearing, some of the canopy was lost when the trees came down, and I would like to see some canopy replaced. It seems to me that the schematic that we have that shows where the arborvitae are going to go is I mean, that on the other side, on the wetland side of the arborvitae, I think we need to have some robust tree replacement and planting to try to give that wetlands a chance to rejuvenate. That's my view.
I agree with that. The arborvitaes are good for privacy, but they're not going to be any kind of canopy or any assistance to the
Right, they're not
health of the
going to do
wetland.
anything other than segment off that portion of the lawn. And anyway, that's my view on what next steps would make sense.
I agree with that as well. It doesn't look like there were arborvitaes in that area. I think it would be a good idea for the applicant to get a better understanding of the review area and look to restore it with the trees that were there, maples, oaks, and also give more consideration to the seed mix and the mix of shrubs that Alexis had mentioned earlier.
But it would have to be pretty clearly understood that no more trees are going to come down.
That is correct. We planning to plant trees in the area that we propose, but I'm not quite, I'm not understanding what is the requirement now.
Yeah, I think I can meet with you if you want in the office to kind of go over what the commission is saying, if you like.
Yes,
I think,
please.
okay.
We're looking for a way to help you get done what you want to get done, while at the same time protecting the wetlands, which is as much for your interest as for ours or anyone else's. So if a little time spent with our staff in their office at City Hall will, I think, help you a good deal.
Okay, so the line that I have marked up for trees is not okay.
It sounds like the location of the line might not be okay, at least on the one side where it's very proximal to the wetland. And then additionally, the use of arborvitae, which they understand is, for a screening purpose, it doesn't provide much value to the wetland. And so I think that they're encouraging some other native plants, but we can go over that in more detail in the office, I guess, would be my recommendation. So I guess I
Do you
would.
understand, Ms. Yacombe, do you understand that we've heard what you've said and we've seen what occurred, and we have our recommendations, and you can work with staff to turn that into a plan that will help you to move forward with your plans.
Yeah, I will be in
And
touch
the light
with
went out
Miss-
in your car. I just want you to know we're looking at a pretty much middle of the night out there.
Oh my God. Let me turn the car on, please. Hold on.
Okay, there you are.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So I would recommend that you email me and we'll set up a time to meet when I'm at City Hall. Excuse me, when I'm at City Hall. And
Okay.
I'll try to relay all my notes that I just took and my interpretations of what the various agency members communicated, and explain what your options are.
That's, you understand that, Mrs. Chacon? Are you hearing me? I think maybe your audio is off. I don't know.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay, good. I just want to make sure before we go that you understand where we are and that there and what the next steps are. That you're okay. That you're okay with that. If you have any questions or whatever, now's a good time.
Yeah, Sonia, we can't hear you.
Okay.
Maybe.
Now?
Oh, yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Hello?
No,
Hello.
she can't.
Okay. Hello?
Okay. I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
It doesn't work.
It does
we-
work. We can hear you now. Perhaps
Can you hear me now? I can hear you, but
Yes.
it seems like you cannot hear.
we can hear you. We hear you fine.
But you
Now.
don't hear us. I don't think you hear us.
Okay.
Alexis,
I will
We're
reach out to
Zoomed
her and
here.
talk to her.
yeah. Can we just move on or?
Absolutely, it's your meeting.
Okay, all right. Well, Ms.
Hello?
Jacome, I know you can't hear me, but thanks for coming before us and good luck. And now we'll move on.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear anything what is being defined. I don't know if you can hear me, but I understand that I have to contact Miss Alexis and work with her to increase the area of the where we with the new proposal of instead of just marking up that line, we need to increase the area for planting more trees.
Sounds good. Sounds like she's got it. Okay, we're gonna blink off now, and we're gonna go to,
After that, what will be?
Okay,
Alexis, it's pitiful. Let's just move on. We'll get back in touch, I feel certain. We're gonna go to S21-582, 51.5 North Bridge Street. I believe Mr. Felix, is he here?
he is.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh, you are, okay.
And let me share my screen again, and I'll just go over kind of the locational information real quickly. This property
Right,
is 41 Bridge Street. So that is where this yellow star is. So I'm over here at City Hall. Here's East Ave, I-95, Winfield Street, and North Bridge is wedged in right behind Norden Place. So this is Norden Place here, the Norden Place Apartments, the Norden Place Industrial Park, and this property here. And then, oops.
oh, Mr. Felix, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, sir. Yes, you are.
Okay, are you talking about knocking down a house and building a new one on this property?
No, it's new construction. It's a vacant lot.
Oh, there's nothing there now?
Yes, sir. There's nothing there.
Okay, so you're gonna make that house larger?
Definitely. Since the square footage is 0, so we got to make something out of it.
Exactly. Let me show his, you can share your screen if you want, or I can continue to share mine. It is up to you, Mr. Felix.
Yeah, I saw this. I couldn't read a bit of this. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let me go back to, so this is what is proposed. Let me just show you the, in response to the email that I sent, of course, this is turned. The applicant did provide, I just uploaded today his wetland report and a survey of the property. And so again, this is kind of their right of way to get into the property. So the front is at kind of the top of the page, if you will. The wetlands are on this side corner. And going back to his plan, it's a very, this is kind of a, maybe a sketch. I do think it is drawn to scale by the applicant, but this is the wetland area, I believe, here. And then the property lines, and then the proposed house.
But the proposition is to move the expanded house will be moving into the protected area. Is that not so? I mean, that's the plan.
So currently it is a vacant lot. There is no house there at all, just to clarify.
I'm tempted to go out there and look and just satisfy myself that there isn't a house there.
That's fine.
But the new house that's to be constructed,
Yes,
please stop me if I'm wrong here, but if there's going to be something built there, it's going to impinge on the protected property, on the affected area of the wetlands. Is that not so? Is that
yes,
the
you are
plan?
correct. Yeah, that's the plan, because the current setback from the wetlands is 50 feet. So I'm just trying to, request permission to cut into it from 50 to about 20, 25.
Oh.
Well, and why? There's other buildable land available on the property. What is the reason for seeking to build inside the upland review area?
The side of the piece, the buildable part on the wetland area, with the setbacks from zoning and everything else, it doesn't kind of limit, because I could only build pretty much something like 25 by 27 feet. So that will limit in terms of garage space, and it will not be conducive with the amount of, by the time I do the driveway and what's required, the percentage, I don't think it will be suitable.
I struggle to with this image to have a clear understanding of what is being proposed. I see the image of a house. I do not see upland review area lines or wetland lines.
Yeah, the wetland lines. I don't know if you could open it up from your screen. Yes, this is where.
Alexis, let's look at the color overshot. Can we look at that? The one with
sure.
1 inch to 50 feet or whatever it is,
Sure.
because that has the lines on it. It shows that the property is really not very big. There's not
Right,
much
and
room.
so part of my recommendations for the applicant was to maybe give some additional maps so that all of these constraints are clear. So this is the survey with the building setback lines. So it's in this area that he can build a house. And then here is the wetland line, and this is the 50-foot upland review area, which would leave this area. So this is the building setback lines. I don't believe are shown on the setback, but I'll get back to the map that you had asked for, Mr. Mailing.
Yeah, that one.
And so your buildable area is something like this.
But trying to
but-
get a house in there with that wetlands pushing in the way it does makes it pretty difficult.
And is there a setback requirement that prevents it from moving closer to number 49 on the street?
Yeah.
Yes, basically maxing it out based on of zoning. You could get at 6 feet. You need a minimum of 6 feet, 6 to 10 feet from the neighbor off to the left hand side. So if you take that into account.
This is your property line. And then this is your 6-foot setback, you're saying?
From yes, that's a 6-foot setback.
So there is an alternative to impinging on the wetlands.
Basically,
However desirable, there does appear to be an alternative.
the only alternative, the current alternative is to build a structure 27 by 25. That's it.
What prevents you from building, looking at this image that's currently displayed, building directly to the left of where the structure is planned for? Exactly, right there.
Basically, that's the boundary. That's the 6 feet. That's the 6 feet.
Okay. So between 6 feet and the proposed structure is a large box titled clearing. If I'm reading that correctly, I don't know if I am.
Garage.
Oh, garage. Okay.
Yes.
The driveway, garage.
Okay.
So
the
it
garage
seems
is
like,
already up against the setback line for the adjoining property. And the house goes to the right of that.
Yes.
Okay.
even if you could take advantage of that 6 feet and go all the way to the street, it still wouldn't even give you the 50 feet you need from the wetlands, correct?
Yes, it won't give you, because I'm moving it up to the street. We still need from the street, we still need a 30 feet setback per
Right.
zoning.
Right.
And that's why it's an upland review area and not technically a setback, but obviously.
What is Alexis, what is that double line that goes from the top to the bottom? Yeah, what is that?
The applicant can describe it maybe.
The double line from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, that line that she's highlighting.
Retaining wall, I
Okay,
think.
okay, yes, because originally I'm proposing just to protect the wetland area during construction. I would, install like a retaining wall to avoid a short,
So
at least
silt
about
fence.
2 feet. Yes,
Oh.
and put a silt fence above it.
Silt fence, a low retaining wall, 16 feet at its closest to the wetland, more than that from the other, this is a
Yes.
single point, right? And so then you would propose no activity within the wetland or within a minimum dimension of 16 feet. And then you would have your developed area defined by the wall.
Yes.
And that's just for construction that would come down after.
Not necessarily, because I do not want to, because I'll discuss with Alexis, I do not want to disturb the wetlands. So that will most likely stay up to protect the wetlands, because I don't want any activities in terms of later on the mowing and stuff like that, that anything that's going to affect it. So just kind of separating the wetlands from.
Was proposing a demarcation wall for this full area. He's proposing to not touch and to kind of make it difficult to mow by building a low wall.
And what is on this property now?
It's a vacant lot.
They're trees or?
Basically, the trees are in the wetlands area. They are the other side where the proposed buildings area. There's actually no trees per se.
I am sharing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aerial photo. Right, so here is the existing driveway that's shown at the top of the map as an access way. This is what the lot looks now in April of 2019. So kind of a cleared grass area and then some trees in the rear wetland area. I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see what you're dealing with. Little water course that runs through the Norton Place condos. Norton Place condos is not the correct name, but it's the condos on Norton Place. And then a little corner of the property is lower, and that the wetland is where the hand is now. So then if we go to the oblique view,
I guess I would want to know before I did anything else, whether or not this is a lot that's buildable if you don't break into the wetlands line.
well, and just to be clear, you mean within the 50-foot upland review area? Because he is not proposing any direct impacts or activity within the wetland line.
Yes, within the review area. I'm wondering, was this a recent subdivision? Was this part of another property and was recently subdivided to create this lot?
No. Go ahead.
I'm not certain, because currently we're in the closing state. Closing on the property right now. So I'm not too sure. I could find out.
It's my understanding it was not a recent subdivision. If it was a recent subdivision, you would see it because state statute requires that any subdivision that includes an inland wetland water course come to you, and in addition to the planning commission.
Okay.
I don't have in my memory the age of the lots of the map that was filed that we eventually found, but it has existed for some time. It was it seems like it was what I'd call a family subdivision, where one family had an oversized lot and then subdivided it over time. And so you end up with kind of all of these not quite streets, but kind of right of ways. So it was under discussion for quite some time in the Planning and Zoning Office as far as the legitimacy of it being a building lot, but it was determined that it is a building lot. So as a building lot, the lot is a building lot. So something has to legally be able to be built there.
But can it be built without interfering on the upland review area? I mean, we're here looking to reduce our requirements so that this building can be constructed. And what I'm asking is there some other way to construct it so that we don't have to reduce our requirements? There's little enough wetlands left there as it is, it seems to me, and I'm disinclined to give up any of it.
Basically, I don't think, if with what's been proposed, I don't think there's no possible way of making it happen, unless it's one of the other way to get any additional square footage is to cut down to the variance, which is not going to give much to the front because there's actually a 30-foot setback from the front. Besides that, I don't think there's anything much that could be done.
Alexis, who or what department approves this as a building lot? And I wonder what kind of criteria they use and if they take into consideration at all the wetlands or the inland wetlands.
So Planning and Zoning in the end decided. It was a filed map that was, I believe it was, the lot was made prior to the inland wetland regulations. So old subdivisions did not take into consideration inland wetlands. And so it's my recollection that this lot predates the 1972 adoption of the local wetland regulations.
So as I'm reading the application, this applicant is not yet the owner of the property and contemplates becoming the owner of the property after the application is approved. Am I getting this right?
No, actually, we're due to close next Tuesday. So closing is set for next Tuesday. And so what I was trying to do is get everything approved to see whether or not I could actually, after closing, pretty much immediately after closing, start submitting all applications, like for building all drawings and everything, so I could start construction before the cold weather actually get on us.
Do you have as a closing condition requirement of the any status with respect to this application?
No conditions. I just start doing all my due diligence on my own and do everything else. No, closing is still going to be.
Well, I don't know what the next step is on this, Alexis. I wish I could be more encouraging about finding an alternative or something.
Right.
So it may just be that the kind of property that one wants is difficult to come by on this property.
I would strongly encourage all the members to go out and have a look at the property. And again, I would look at the wetland itself, and then look at the current condition of the upland review area and the area within the upland review area that the applicant proposes to retain. At the end of the day, your regulations are there to protect inland wetlands and not to outright protect the upland review area. So you just want to keep that in mind, that you look at upland review areas because you've determined that in general, your regulations say a 50-foot upland review area from wetlands, 100 feet from watercourse. Those are the areas that are most likely to have an activity that may have a negative impact on the wetland watercourse. And so if there is a negative impact on a wetland watercourse, someone has to get a permit from you. If someone's doing activities more than 50 feet from a wetland or more than 100 feet, then they don't have to get a permit from you. But you, it is well, there's a variety of jobs here, so the applicant needs to show that his proposed activity will not have a negative impact on the wetland. Period. And then the commission needs to make sure that they have enough information to confirm, that opinion of the applicant and protect the wetland, not just the upland review area.
Yeah, because the other thing I was actually, I think I discussed that with Alex also is the part of the wetland area that I know I'm not going to touch at all. So as a matter of fact, what I reached out to the surveyor also, the wetland area, if it takes just where I propose the short retaining wall to just basically fence everything away from it and just have nothing to do with it. That part of the property, I'm willing to just give it up to the city, which in order to protect the wetlands, and they're going to have no interference with the wetland at all.
All right, well, in fairness, I think maybe we do have to go out and have a look. So I will undertake to do that at my earliest convenience, and we'll go from there. I'm still hung up on the inability to conjure up a diagram that would allow the house to be built, but not to be impinging on the upland review area. Maybe that's not possible. But at this stage of the game, I think maybe that's really our best next step.
Alexis, is it easy to see the property? It looks like you said there's access, so it looks like maybe a shared driveway situation or something.
Yes, so
There's a private road leading into it.
Okay.
It's actually shed.
yeah, so you can get yeah, I'll send you direction. I'll send out the directions to get there. Would probably be the easiest. But if you put it into your phone, it will get you to 51 Bridge Street or North Bridge Street.
Okay.
And it is kind of wedged behind. You really feel like you're going into a driveway at the end of the road. Mm-hmm. At the end of North Bridge, it branches off into these multiple driveways, and you really feel like you're going down a driveway. But when you get to the end of what feels like a driveway, you'll see this fence is still there, and then you'll be able to look out to this little open area.
Okay. I think that's where we are.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. We'll have a look, and we'll come back at this in a couple of weeks, try and see what we can do.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Moving on now to 3 Apple Tree Lane. Corrective action, removal of boulders in a wetland and other proposed additions, and landscaping in and adjacent to wetlands and water courses. Sounds like that's just about everything.
All right, so this is 3 Apple Tree Lane. This is also a corrective action application. The applicant has filed as a outcome of the directives of a notice of violation that was issued on August 6th. And the notice of violation listed 3 things, if I recall: the deposition of rocks within a wetland and along a water course, a 2-foot-high retaining wall adjacent to a wetland and water course, and then initiating some construction activities without a permit. And so just to take a step back, this is Apple Tree Lane is off of Comstock Hill Avenue, which is up kind of in the Silver Mine area. This is the property here. There's a large wetland across the street, a small wetland and water course that's surrounded by the driveway of this property, the existing residence. wetland area, ponded area that continues the little stream. And then the site plan. I'll just give a quick
How about
overview.
this for a schematic? Well, I tell you,
And
that's
then I will hand it over to the applicant. So on this map, the wetlands are shown by the dashed lines with the little flags and kind of WF wetland flag numbers. So this is wetland here and then wetland here. This is the gravel driveway. These are the proposed addition areas. And then I don't know if Mr. Torres, if you want to just kind of go through what you are proposing, or I can continue to give an overview. It's up to you.
Yeah, you can move, you can still.
You can still, I can still talk.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the applicant brought in this plan, I did note to him that it shows a lot of work that is in addition to the corrective action work. The corrective action work is this pile of rocks here. So it's between the driveway and the brook and just within the wetland area that was cited. What's not shown is this, let me just zoom in a little bit. These are railroad ties that then fade into a boulder wall along the edge of the driveway, right along the property line. And then there's a timber wall here. It was the raising of this area of the driveway with the timbers that was cited in the order. And that's because it's very proximal to the water course that has historically been piped under the driveway. But it's within the upland review area, obviously, of either side of the water course. And then the construction noted was here, this had previously been a deck, I believe, and it was in the middle of being deconstructed, and it's now proposed to be an addition along with an addition in the front and a front porch addition. In addition to the additions, the applicant is proposing some stormwater drainage management, which is shown in pink here, where he proposes to capture the roof leaders. That's also within the upland review area. And then the rest of the work, there's work on a rear shed where a gravel patio is proposed, but for the most part, that is outside of the upland review area.
right.
So additionally, this plan shows the removal of this this one small ornamental birch that's in the middle of the yard. It shows some existing shed to be renovated. I had requested that the applicant clarify what renovation means and encouraged him to either not renovate or to remove the shed out of the wetland. It's currently mostly in the wetland. And then also I had talked to the applicant about the site plan for this front wetland. He's proposing to remove these 3 cedars that are in the front driveway and then replace 3 of the hemlocks that are next to the timber rail wall. Additionally, the plan shows a proposed piping of the brook within the driveway loop with a pipe. And the applicant had talked about kind of filling in the wetlands. I believe that was going to be dropped, but I think that the applicant was looking into it. So that's the full extent of the proposed activities.
Alexis, on the left part of the property, you mentioned something about something being raised. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. So the driveway, there's a gravel driveway that goes around this small wetland area. And it was it's labeled railroad RR ties. Zoom in. Along here. So there were 3 to 4 of them stacked up, basically making a retaining wall. So the area within the driveway, especially this corner, was raised higher in elevation than it had been previously. And these low railroad tie walls were installed and raised the grade. And those were cited just because of their proximity to the wetland and watercourse.
Thank you.
But that activity is not noted on the site plan.
I take it the brook is now put into a culvert underneath the gravel driveway, is that correct?
No, that's not the current condition. That's what the applicant is proposing, at least on this plan.
No, but I'm just saying that once you
right
come
here.
to the end of that red line, the water course goes underground, does it not?
Yes, it does. There is a 16-inch pipe that goes underground and then exits just off the property.
A 2-inch pipe,
16.
16-inch pipe.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that I may have copied you on the preliminary review letter that I wrote to the applicant. I would recommend that there be a narrative or some description of all the different elements of work that I just listed for clarity's sake. And that it should at least acknowledge or address the grading that was done to elevate the driveway next to the wetland watercourse. Explain where the rock stockpile would be removed to. I think it's noted that the rocks be removed. But if they're within the upland review area, it should be noted. And then clarify the extent of the activities that are being proposed, since, as I mentioned right now, the proposal includes piping of a watercourse and filling of a wetland.
Okay, so we have that to look forward to. I can say off the top of my head that the idea of sinking an existing brook that's in a wetlands underground into an 18-inch pipe or something similar is unattractive because it leaves the wetlands high and dry. I do notice in the, I don't know what you call these pictures, Alexis, the ones that have this color code on them. But on that picture, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it shows that stream after it's piped underneath the driveway going into a pond. And that pond is adjoined by a wetlands instead of being a part of it. And the little shed is shown on this map right on the edge of the pond, not just in the wetland, but on the edge of the pond. Maybe the pond isn't there anymore, I don't know, but that's what this schematic shows. So the idea of renovating that is not one that's attractive, I think. And there does appear to be another shed on the property, so maybe there's a way to combine the efforts there. One that doesn't impinge on either the upland review area or the wetlands. That's just my commentary subject to what you've already brought forward to Mr. Torres. I got that right, Mr. Torres?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So after I did get the email from her about that, I contact my same view engineering. And actually I called him today in the morning and I told him to take out the renovation of the shed and also the pipe in the brook on the front of the property. So that's no longer, we're not looking to do it. Because,
Okay.
I want to get my permit, as soon as possible. And that's gonna be delaying everything and it's gonna cost me more money. So I'm just gonna skip that.
Okay, so we're not gonna put the pipe through the wetlands.
No, no,
That's off the chart, that's off the list.
exactly.
Okay,
It's correct.
well, that's good. A lot of progress made very quickly.
Yeah, instead of being more troubles, I want to solve the problems.
Yeah, no rule against it.
Okay.
Alexis, what next steps do we need to take? I think we're working on both a correction and an application to construct at the same time, right?
Correct.
We have to separate them.
It's up to you. I think the not having the renovation of the shed that's in the wetland and not proposing to pipe and fill a wetland makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
But yeah, you can either separate them out or, you know, I guess.
well, if we can address them together, it will save time for Mr. Torres. Otherwise, it's going to add at least another couple of weeks. And I don't object to putting them together if it's not going to drive staff crazy. And even if it were, you wouldn't admit it, would you?
No, just maybe a consistent policy, because I think that when you do have a corrective action application, it is, I think, the natural and understandable tendency for applicants to figure, well, I have to get an application anyway, you know, we'll add this other stuff on. And so as long as you understand that if you allow add-ons to corrective action applications, you'll get that most every time.
Well, then
So
let's
that's
just go
okay.
forward. Let's go forward with the corrective action application. Since the subsuming of the pipe is no longer an issue and the little shed, I feel certain, can be worked away at. If we get rid of the boulders and the railroad ties or whatever, and you send the message that you did send to Mr. Torres, then by the time we meet again, we ought to be very far down the road.
Yes.
All right, let's leave it at that. Mr. Torres, does that make sense to you?
You mentioned to remove the roll ties?
No, just to when you have the I think what we're asking is for Soundview to update the plans.
Oh, no,
To-
I mean, yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
forward the email to them
Okay.
and we talk about that and they already working on it.
Okay, good. And so
Great.
as long as their work also shows that the railroad ties have been added, I think that you're further along. And so while we have you commissioners, these are the cedars that are proposed to be removed. Just wanna
You're not
make sure
sharing.
there's- Oh, I'm not sharing again. Hold on a second.
And I think Arian, he emailed you back, emailed me and copy you on that about the taking out the list, the brook and the shed. So I don't know if you did get that email from him.
I did not, but.
Yeah, he emailed today, yeah. I think a little bit after 9 in the morning.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so this is the deck where it would now be an addition?
Yes,
And then you're proposing to remove 3 of these hemlocks?
yes, because they are close to the corner by the blue line, close to the property line,
Mhm.
and they are dead.
But you're proposing to replace them?
Yes, take them out and put new ones on because, you know, it looks bad, you know, just having dead trees right next to the, you know, the green ones.
Okay, and then so this is the front little wetland, this is the little stream, and then you're proposing to remove these 3 cedars?
Yes, 3 of them, but, you know, before I bought the property, probably they were too tall and they chop it down. So they look in really poor condition.
Okay,
I mean,
and then,
if it's a chance, otherwise I just live with it.
And then the rocks are currently kind of piled here. Do you have a plan for where they would go on the property?
Which rocks? The pile?
Yeah, the big pile of rocks.
Oh no, I moved it out of the way right after you came out.
And where did you move them? Where did you move them to?
Oh no. I took it out of the property completely.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Perfect.
Yeah, they're no longer in here.
Okay, so it sounds like you're working on a revised plan, and so at the next meeting, we should be able to resolve everything, especially with those bigger items taken away.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Torres.
Thank you.
Okay, striding along, we are now at S 21-584, 6 Laurie Lane. Mr. Yeager, who I think I saw is here, or some.
Right. So this is also a corrective action application. You saw this one earlier as a.
Alexis, sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to
Yes.
recuse myself here. Mr. Yeager serves on the Transit Commission, which is my employer. So no conflict of
Thank
interest. I'll step away and see ya. Hey, David.
Oh, you're
He's
recusing?
himself. Yes,
Okay,
and I believe we still have 4 of you, right? Yes,
do we still have a quorum?
yes, we still have 4 by my count.
Okay, do you have to call the roll again, or can we just move along?
Nope, he can be recused.
Okay,
So
Sure.
let's see.
don't go far.
Let me pull up some aerial photos of this one as well real quickly. So as I was saying, you had seen this one briefly as a corrective action. I'm sorry, as a show cause hearing a few weeks ago. And let's see if we can share. Again.
I have a question, when we get to it, I have a question about the definition of the wetlands on this property, because it's in the colored overview.
Mhm.
There we go. Okay, you see how right down and to the right, your cursor, you see how the wetland just cuts right straight off like it wasn't studied on this property?
Okay, yeah, so we're worried about these maps. I make these maps to help you get oriented or attempt to. And so what they show are estimated wetlands and field delineated wetlands. And so the estimated wetlands are kind of the pale, this kind of pale yellow color on the maps. And so that's the USDA's mapping of large soil areas that meet the wetland soil classification. And then the darker green are areas where there has been a soil scientist out there and has field delineated the wetlands. And so you might remember all of these had violations, 8, 10, and 12. Holiday Drive. This drains into a catch basin here.
I remember.
And then it's piped and it comes out here. And so this wetland ends here, but it most likely does continue along the back of the yards of 14, 16, and 18, but those properties have never had any work done that has needed a wetland permit.
Okay, well, going up to number 6.
So then
Lori
going
Lane.
up to 6.
Okay.
So number 8, Lori
Look
Lane.
for the number 6 to the left.
Yep.
That's the applicant, that's Mr. Yeager's. And
Yes.
the measured wetlands stops at his property line.
This map was made before he had the wetlands delineated. And so this is the information that we had, I don't know, in September. And when he was issued the notice of violation, he did hire a soil scientist to delineate the wetland. and found that the wetland on his property comes there's a little bit in the front between the driveway, his driveway and the water course. And then the wetland kind of follows this contour line that I'm pointing at now, the 155 contour line.
Right.
It's here. And then Mr. Thiel went out to the property in August 27th and finally did give Mr. Yeager a soils report. So again, he actually used the same base map. I gave the same base map to him. So this is number 8 and the wetland line that appears to abruptly
So
end at
that's
number 6.
the newly defined wetlands.
And the newly defined wetlands here.
Right. And then in another of these schematics, it is mentioned that that is a wetland area covered with wood chips. That was Mr. Yeager's notation on this, I think, from what I can see. I'm just looking at this part here. This is a trick doing this.
This one?
Well, yeah, there it is. So that's the extended wetlands that Otto found in August or whenever he was out. And this is now covered with wood chips, or is it going to be cleared or wood chips or whatever? And from the edge of that wetland to the deck is 31 feet, we see?
30, I think it's a 37
feet. Okay. And that's an existing deck?
So it was a previously existing deck that you might recall it was demolished when
Right.
And trees fell on it.
Mr. Yeager intends to rebuild it exactly as it was on the same footprint.
Correct, and that is not part of this permit. He actually did receive a minor permit for the deck.
Okay.
So he is appropriately dealing with just his corrective action work in this permit application, which is the removal of the wood chips and some sort of revegetation of the wetland.
Okay. That's pretty much, yeah.
So I will keep describing, and then Mr. Yeager, feel free to jump in, but this is Lori Lane, driveway, house, deck, the stream. This is the approximate area of the wetlands. And
But the action that we're putting forward is only calling for the evacuation of the wood chips and the installation of some appropriate plants or trees in that area. Is that kind of
yes, I'd say that the only thing that the plan lacks is a quantification of the number of trees or shrubs or vegetation proposed. But yes, all the wood chips are being proposed to be removed from the wetland area, placed on the opposite side of the property. And then I believe that these indicate some sort of shrubs or other vegetation within the wetland.
That was my non-professional site survey I found free online.
Commissioners, we heard a pretty good description of Mr. Yeager last time around, and this summarizes what is before us pretty well. Does anybody have questions or concerns that they want to raise right now? Because I'm not sure we couldn't. I would be inclined to want to jump the gun a little bit here, and or are we, or is this intermediate? We're going to have to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, you are required to wait 2 weeks. It is just the receipt of an application.
All right, too bad. Anyway, looks good, Mr. Yeager.
Thanks. That's all right. I mean, we already, I met with Alexis. We've already, no pun intended. I have a friend who's a landscaper, so over the course of the fall and early spring, he'll start chipping away at the chips, and we'll put them on the other parts of the property, and then we can come up with some sort of replanting program. We'd probably be inclined to go. We're not opposed to trees, but shorter ones because of our history with trees here.
Whatever your experts recommend, I'm sure will be fine. Just native plants that that help the wetlands a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, we have no problem with that.
We'll leave you to it, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe email or give me a call and we'll
Okay.
make sure you're all set.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
we have, moving on to number 5, discussion and or decision. Number F, S21-577, 63 Cranberry Road, Mr. Lombardi.
Yes.
Certainly one of the most patient men I have ever met on Zoom. It's nice to see you folks again.
Thank
you.
Can you just give us a précis of where we stand?
John, do we need Matt back? Is Matt? back with-
We need, thank you, Matt.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to get him back in.
Sorry, John. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Let's see.
If we yell for him, will he hear us? Is that a possibility?
Maybe.
There was some talk of another small revision in your transmission note to us, Alexis. I don't know if there was any, if there is something new to put on the table here.
Yeah, hold on, I'm just going to send Matt a text. Let him know that we're back on. I wonder if you muted him.
I just spoke to Matt. He'll be rejoining us.
Oh, thank you. Fantastic. All right, I'll try to share my screen again. Earlier today, the Lombardis did submit a revised site plan, excuse me. And this is on the website. They had their land surveyor. It's more of a survey, I guess, as opposed to a site plan. So you may recall the limit of wetlands on this map is the line with the little black dots.
Yep.
Goes around here and then kind of ends. This is the line ... is a watercourse and pond. It flows to the north and eventually goes out to the Saugatuck River Harbor in Westport. There is a variety of new construction, including what's labeled here a retaining wall that's new, which has been described by the applicant as a curb going along the between the existing driveway, which is the dashed pinkish purple line, and the watercourse, which is just off the property. And then additionally, that curb, that wall continues to this point here, which is within the wetland. And then within this triangle, there was the establishment of a vegetable garden, which isn't the problem with it. What was more of an issue was these retaining walls that were installed in this location. The applicant is proposing to keep the other wall. Let me just toggle back to the first survey. So at the last meeting, I think it was Commissioner Clockey, who isn't here tonight, had articulated that he had wanted to see all the walls that were constructed adjacent to the stream removed. The applicant is proposing to keep these portions here, which are not retaining walls, but just kind of concrete walls. And I can show you photos.
It's a
Right? Is that
foundation for the
correct?
deer fence, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Walkway.
Yeah.
A concrete walkway, and then would keep this portion here, but would remove it from here and here.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's pretty responsive, it seems to me.
And I
So,
believe it is four small shrubs that would be planted.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4.
Wow.
before shrubs,
Or little trees.
Yes, what is
Some
this?
sort of
Poplar
plant.
tree.
And
Now,
then-
there
and
is
then
a,
Yeah, go ahead.
you talk, because I want to, because over here now, the beavers, they make dams every single day. So the city of Norwalk is gonna come over here
Once a week.
and once a week, no, twice a week, and they put the tarp on the floor and they drag all the branches which the beaver makes every single day. So
Mhm.
if I put a branch, whatever I put over here, they're gonna disturb or break in by the city people, the city of Norwalk people, right here.
right here.
Yeah, right here.
Where we put the bushel over there, yeah.
So then let me just go through, they're also proposing to restore the fence, but just in fence posts, not the full retaining wall.
Right.
Yeah, crank post.
And right, so this is the Beaver Dam.
Yes, that's the
um,
beavers, yes.
Right. And so then again, just for location purposes, this wall, the applicant is proposing to keep.
Right.
And then this
that's the
portion
walkway.
here, the walkway, the poured walkway, and then this portion would be removed, but then this
Yes.
portion would stay. Is that what?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this would stay kind of as it is for now, because this is, as you said, where Public Works is coming in
Yes.
to do their Beaver Dam modification work.
What, they're modifying the Beaver Dam?
The Beaver Dam, I'd say, is unrelated to the corrective action application,
It is.
but there are beavers in this waterway, and they have a lodge further upstream, which is to the south, and then they build a dam in this location, which is just before it goes into the culvert under Cranberry
Okay.
Road. And the properties upstream of the dam were all, they don't have a lot of elevation change between the houses, and in particular their on-site septic systems and the large wetland area behind them. So when the beaver is successful and raises the elevation of the water, a lot of residences feel the impacts. So the city
Is there any-
is looking into its
there
options
any
for
effect on
beaver
what the city's
management.
doing on the proposition from Mr. Lombardi, Mr. and Mrs. Lombardi?
What's that?
Is the city's work going to impact the plans, the revised plans that the Lombardis have put forward?
No, I don't think so. And if any of if it's a concern about their plantings, I'm sure that the Public Works can talk to the adjacent property owner and get to the dam from a different way. I have no doubt that this is the easiest way to get to the dam, but it's not the only way.
Okay, but got it.
Anyway,
Okay.
so I don't know, did any additional comments or?
Yeah,
So-
anybody
yeah,
have any remarks or comments or whatever about this? I think this is, yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, there's the wall or curb that runs along the driveway. It's only partly visible in this image. I know that Commissioner Clocky had suggested that it would be great for it to be absent. And I'm wondering, the revised proposal calls for it to be removed or modified or just left as is. I'm confused about that now. So
I
yes,
believe-
this image is helpful.
Right, so I believe that the current plan has the new retaining wall remaining until you get to where the garden is. And so here is the end of the driveway, and then I think it's only these portions are to be removed. And these are the portions that are literally in the wetland, not just adjacent to the wetland.
So I think what I'm hearing is that the wall that was constructed along the driveway, right next to the water course, stays in place. And this
Yes.
image does not really capture that
Right.
adequately,
So all of this.
but this
and over-
continues to all the way to the street.
Correct.
And what's the reason for keeping that? Why? It's directly adjacent to the water course itself. And I'm wondering what is the reason for what's the need for that?
Which one?
The walkway.
No, not the
No,
walkway, the wall
the-
along the drive between the water course
Oh, this-
and the driveway.
Yeah, that's like a 6-inch curbing, and I will put about a 2 feet flower bed, and then I got a paving. It's like a flower bed, so stop right there, and then we're gonna put a new driveway. It's like a start, it's like before it used to be blacktop curbing. So I took off of that blacktop curbing and I put the cement, so it's better looking and strong. And that space of 2 feet, I'm gonna put a flower bed over there, some trees, some flowers, so the house looks nice.
So there is going to be a modification of that. There'll be a modification of that stretch, but not such that, that the driveway is going to fall into the stream. I mean, that'd be bad for the house, so there has to be some structure there to literally retain the driveway.
Right, that's the reason why too, yes.
Yeah, right, agreed.
Yes.
Before, it was not an issue. Is that correct?
Well, it kind of was. We were talking about it.
Because there was asphalt there. I'm a little confused.
Well, you're going to put an asphalt curb along there, Ms. Lombardi, is that right?
Maybe Belgian block. Belgian block looks, because I already on the other side, I got some Belgian block. I'm
All right, well, we have Belgian block, whatever, but I mean, some kind of small.
small things. Yeah, the Belgian block, it's like a.
Right, but what had you proposed, or what was there before?
Before it used to be like a curbing, a blacktop curbing.
Was, okay.
So like an asphalt berm.
Yes,
If I'm
yes,
getting that
yeah.
right. Okay.
It was
you were-
all broken. It was all broken. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Matt, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess I get it. I mean, I guess there's a need to have some form of a retaining wall is what I'm hearing, and the consensus that we feel it has a useful purpose
Yeah,
in protecting the water course.
yeah, the driveway is going to be next to the waterway anyway, with or without a berm. So it makes more sense for the wetlands to have something there that,
That's the one.
is functional.
Okay.
That's the image of it.
Any other,
Yes.
any other comments or questions from commissioners? Hearing none, I mean, I suppose, what do you think, Alexis? You need some time to put together a possible resolution? All right, so we'll look to that for the next meeting. Once again, Mr. and Mrs. Lombardi, thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll miss you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm planning to put in my garden next year.
Okay, come back. By all means.
Okay.
All right. Moving along to S21-576, 70 Witch, Horvath, corrective action, fill removal, landscaping, and adjacent. Is Ms. Horvath here or?
Well, so
Yeah, so
you've
to-
opened and closed a public hearing, so they might be listening in, but they're not invited as panelists because you can't receive any information from them
All right,
once the
well,
public
staff
hearing
have
is
sent-
closed.
Staff have.
I'm sure they're here
provided us with
Here in spirit. So
are
I
you-
did include the public hearing opened 2 meetings ago. You closed it at your last meeting. I enclosed a draft resolution in my memorandum based on your comments after you had closed the public hearing.
Well, presuming that commissioners have read your October 6th memorandum, which sets out conditions under which the commission could approve this application or grant it. So I would move that the application number S21-576 be granted to Jennifer Horvath for that property.
I second that motion.
Okay, that's seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I believe there's an error in paragraph 6 of that memorandum. It reads, as described in special conditions number 8 above. I think that you meant to put in number 5 above. I believe so.
Paragraph 6, meaning which special condition?
Paragraph number 6 has
The
verbiage.
one numbered six?
Oh, I see. I got it.
Yeah, paragraph with,
Yeah.
yes, with a number 6 on it.
Okay,
Gotcha.
States as described in special conditions number 8 above. It is my belief that you meant to say number 5 above. And I would seek
Correct.
to modify the memorandum accordingly.
everybody needs something to believe in. Is that, I mean, with that correction, is there any other discussion of the motion which has been seconded? I think we can vote by acclamation. Alexis, you there?
Yes. I'm
I
here.
got it. You know, this is not like being in the same room. Alexis is up.
All right,
late
I'll do
talking.
I will call. So John Mailing,
Okay, so it's moved, seconded, and discussed. So we're open to a vote. And I would just simply vote by acclamation. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
anyway, I just did not
Opposition,
receive a,
then the
from
application is
Ed.
granted.
I'm
Huh?
sorry, Ed, was that a yes or a no for you?
That was a yes.
Okay, thank you.
So we're unanimous.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you all for your, well,
Are you
Ms.
closing
Horvath,
the
if you're
meeting now?
listening, thank you for your patience.
Are you closing the meeting now?
Yeah, so they're done with your item for now until the next meeting.
Sorry, my phone wasn't working well and I couldn't hear what the resolution was, but I just want to share a quick, like a minute. It will be like a minute for, because I knew that part of the resolution was to increase a little bit the area of where the arborization, right? But then I just called my husband about that and he said the corner that there was in question cannot be work need to be done there. I don't know if you can see the screen because he said there is a pipe, a city pipe there. And there is a lot of rocks near that area. Heavy, big rocks. So if we plan to, I don't know if you see my screen.
Yeah, no, I think that we can't really go back to finish tonight. I think that I would recommend that you email me or call me and we'll come up with a date to meet in City Hall and you can tell me all the additional things that you want them to know and I will let you know what they had said and then we'll be get better prepared for their next meeting on the
Okay,
the 26th.
understood. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
I'm sorry to bother you, but I
Sorry,
just
the
feel like I need
communication
to.
broke down.
It's
Mrs.
okay. It's a hard, Zoom is not easy, so understood.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, moving on to number 6, bond release, reduction request S19-542, 6 Leslie Lane, Perez, release of $965 bond held for corrective action landscaping in and adjacent.
Staff we did a recent inspection. The plants are alive. The permittee did send in a formal email requesting release of the bond and noted that he felt he was in compliance with his permit. I did send him an email reminding him that his landscaping crew should not be putting any lawn debris or grass clippings within the buffer area. And with all of that, staff would recommend release.
Is the amount of time elapsed that's required for those plantings?
Technically, a growing season is October 15th. But other than that, yes.
So what I'm hearing you say is that in 3 days, the 2 years of healthy growth will have elapsed and the condition be satisfied.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, your move, Commissioner Levin.
Then I move to release the bond as requested by the permittee.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's granted. So now we move on to minutes. I read the 14th and 28th, but I didn't read the 24th of August. I missed it. I guess I didn't download it. But I didn't have any problems with 14 or 28. Anybody else have any comments or omissions or errors or observations or conjurings?
I think
No.
the only thing I have is I don't think I was at the last meeting, so the 28th, you can take my name off. I think, right? Yeah.
No, you, let's see, I didn't print them out.
I don't think I was.
Dig out the film. Dig out the film and let's see if she was.
I will confirm that I will look into that.
Okay.
So, and that was on the 28th.
Yeah.
So then we have to move to accept the minutes as submitted, do we not? Subject
Yeah, and
to-
just to clarify, I still have not finished the August 24th meeting minutes. That's why you did not see them, because I did not give them to you.
Are we gonna-
It was only September 14th and September 28th.
I thought so. Got you.
Were we going to do August 24th? That was a Conservation Commission meeting.
Yeah, but I still am writing minutes. It just takes so long.
Okay. All right, so I move we accept the minutes for September 14th and 28th.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Granted. Moving on to number 8, comments of staff. Any reports, Alexis? Or
No,
Amelia?
not at this hour.
Okay. Amelia, you got something to say? No? All right.
Alexis, can I just ask you, I saw briefly the email you sent. It's an invite to,
Oh, yes.
if you want to just mention that.
Thank you. So I sent you an invitation, Kakiwik, which is, you are a member of Kakiwik, the Connecticut Association of Conservation and Inland Wetland Commissions. Comes out Kakiwik somehow. They have an annual meeting, and they are going to have their annual meeting on the 6th of November, which is a Saturday. It's a virtual meeting. And if you would like to go, the city will pay for you to, well, attend, because you're not going anywhere, but if you'd like to sit in front of your computer on a Saturday and listen to some wetland stuff, in the past, they have had some excellent meetings. I know that Ed has physically gone in the past, a year or maybe 2 years he's gone. If you want to go, just let me know and I will sign you up. If you, it takes a while for our comptroller's office to issue a check. So I would do like the old fashioned way, print it out and fill it out for you and then ask for a check and then they would mail the check. Since that takes a while, let me know by the end of this week if you want to go. If you decide later on that you want to go, that's fine. We can reimburse you. Just keep all of your stuff and submit that to me and I can get your reimbursement. But
Do you know what the hours are?
it was kind of like midday, if I remember right.
Okay.
It was not the best for a busy schedule.
Okay.
I remember that much.
It's just my daughter's birthday, so I have to make sure.
That's pretty important.
Yes, yes.
Is she allowed to bring a guest? I mean, I can't think of a better way to celebrate a birthday.
Oh yeah, 15-year-old girl, absolutely.
I live for this stuff. Maybe
Anything
not.
further from staff? We're on 9. I have nothing to say. Any comments from the commissioners? Hearing none, we're down to 10 and it says adjournment and I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
That's seconded and all in favor? Aye. See you all in
Aye.
2 weeks.
Aye.
Take care.
Night all.
Good night.